Okay, we are on episode 5 officially of the CJ2K show. A little bit of a different setting here today. We're not at the old desk in front of the old computers. We decided to make things a little larger.
Don't lie,
Give you guys a bigger look at what goes on behind the podcast. No,
I mean,
and a little bit of comfort because we're on couches now.
We do a lot of random stuff behind the scenes.
We were in a hot room. To be honest, this is
you should
much
see what
better
it's
for us.
sitting on. I mean,
we
won't go
can
there.
see the behind the scenes, but it's
a little rough.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it looks good on there.
It better.
So, anyway, today what we're doing is similar to last week when we were kind of going division by division, team by team. We're going to go a little bit of a smaller scale, keep it more on the fantasy side. We're going to go player by player, quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, and tight end rankings between Connor and I. We both filled out our own top 10s, 15s, depending on the position. We made little adjustments. And then we just combined our scores. So
Found the averages?
Found the averages for the CJ2K show as a whole, what we represent. We're going to go right there and we're going to talk a little bit about each player.
Yeah, I would assume most people would assume that we were going to go, preseason week 1.
Right, yeah.
I'm not your biggest preseason week 1 guy.
Yeah.
Watching, four stringers play 3 quarters doesn't necessarily excite me. Sure, seeing guys like Darnold and Mayfield are fun, and it was exciting. They look great.
Yeah, that was cool.
But week 4 is more when it's like, that was a little bit more realistic. So we felt like we didn't need to go there. Instead, we want to go straight to the point, give something valuable to viewers.
There's only so much you can talk about
something
one
that
drive.
Maybe something you can take to your other, I know some of us are in other leagues. I know, other people in other leagues are watching this. Yeah. So therefore, maybe it's something that they can take and use in the next couple of weeks for drafts. I know I have some coming up. Yeah. Jay, you have some coming up. We all have drafts coming up. Maybe our insight is something that you take into effect. And
we all love this type of information too.
It doesn't matter who it's come from. I mean, it could be that little baby that slides one way or the other, picking the games, and we're
still looking because we still want to know who's above who.
I mean, did that baby really think Green Bay was going to win that game? I don't know. Let's go ahead and jump right into quarterbacks.
Start with quarterbacks?
Yeah, start with quarterbacks.
Right.
I don't think it's a surprise that this player is number 1.
No.
Let's shoot his name out. Aaron Rodgers. Of the Green Bay Packers.
We both agreed with that. That was a solid number 1, no dispute.
He has a good O-line from him. That's great for what he does. Not only does he have a good O-line, he has the capability to just carry your fantasy team. Week in, week out, he can drop the 30 mark.
He's got a team with the tools that he needs to pick up exactly where he left off, no?
Yeah, I mean, if on this clip, you can see him throw a nice back shoulder to Devontae Adams in the end zone. Just when that chemistry is there, it's not fair. I mean, even if he can lose a receiver here, he can gain Jimmy Graham like he did, but it doesn't matter who's on the field. He still puts the ball where it needs to be. He's a good
Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be something special.
Devontae Adams jumps up my board on the receivers list when we get there, but strictly because he has Rodgers back in his already so good last year. That match is it's going to be beautiful. I think Randall Cobb's good this year. I just think Aaron Rodgers, when he's healthy, he's proven year in, year out, he's the best quarterback in the league, no matter what the throw is.
I agree.
Number 2, we actually had a little discrepancy kind of all the way through this list.
By like 1 or 2 positions with number 2, nothing was as obvious as the number 1 spot between us. Number 2, we do have Russell Wilson.
He was the reigning number 1. He did finish
the fantastic year last year. Let's be honest though, we didn't have Aaron Rodgers to compare his numbers to. That obviously has nothing to do with the numbers he put up, but with that being said, I don't think anything happens to that Seahawks offense. I'm only talking about the offense in this situation. That leads me to believe that he has any reason to regress. I think. With the receiving core, not much has happened over the course of 1 year. In the backfield, a lot has happened. A lot of changes has happened.
Consistently.
Yeah, for the last, 1-2 years? I mean, last year, it seemed like every 3 weeks something else was going on.
Since Marshawn retired, which was 3 years ago, going on its 4th year, it has been a nightmare. I mean, it's like the Browns quarterbacks. They just keep on coming. It's a wheel.
And like I said,
where they're going.
A change in the backfield might not influence the change in Russell Wilson's game and his fantasy output, but I do think that I saw Rashad coming on, so we all did briefly in their preseason.
The one part that I love about him is that he accounted for 37 to 38 touchdowns. I mean, with Russ, you can see him slide up in the pocket. You can see him deliver a football. You can see him go for a scramble. There's so many different variables of what Russ can do. But Russ has the ability to maneuver in the pocket, put a quality football on someone, and make 3-4 good decisions in one play, and that's something that no other quarterback can do at his level. His level is higher than others at reading defenses and whatnot. Number 3 is who I think this is my breakout pick. It's Kirk Cousins. He was already top 10 back-to-back years. He's thrown for the 4,000-yard mark 2 years in a row, and he plays for a team that never put receivers around him. And now we're going to put what I think is one of the better receiving corps in the NFL in his lap.
It just seemed like it was the best of both worlds when he went there.
And you saw him perform in preseason. I know it's preseason 1. I just said it wasn't that important. But seeing the guy throw a ball that happens 1% of the time, like a perfect ball down the seam, or down the sidelines, I mean, and it's delivered, and that is, I mean, he's barely even practiced. Like, that's...
It gives us an opportunity to confirm our opinions and our projections for what's about to happen. It's refreshing to be able to see kind of what your idea of Kirk Cousins and that offense come to effect.
I really think he's in for a breakout year. Plus, he scrambles. He has an underrated
That's true.
scrambler.
Yeah, he is an underrated scrambler.
He really is.
I agree with that.
We'll go to number 4. With no injuries last year, he was arguably number 1.
I think he was on pace to beat Russell.
Carson Wentz, before he got hurt the last week, I mean, he was on pace. I believe he was the number 1, number 2 quarterback. He was pushing him week in, week out. Carson Wentz just has the capability of, I mean, kind of same as Russell and Kirk Cousins put together. I mean, he throws a great football, but he has some maneuverability. He does get some rushing yards. But mostly he just has a ton of talent around him. When you have that O-line, you can kind of just hang out in the pocket.
And I think maybe one of the more important things to note is that maybe why he's coming in at number 4, even though he was arguably one of the best quarterbacks, arguably the best quarterback last year, is strictly because we've only had the 1 year to look at it.
Well, that and, question marks around Alshon Jeffrey's health right now have me wondering if he's a top 5. I mean, talent-wise, last year he was. This year,
if Carson Wentz comes back as himself the same way he was last year, is he entering the offense the same way it was last year?
As you're watching right now, can he really scramble out of the pocket and escape the constant pressure that he was getting last year? Let's move on to the next one.
5.
The guy who's a weeks 1 through 12 hero. Mr. Brady himself. The guy who was found in youth. I want whatever workout plan he's on, but not really at the same time.
Not really.
I don't know what's going on over there. But Brady just, he's got built.
I think 5, to be honest, it might be a hair high. As he gets older, I mean, I don't see him climbing up in terms of fantasy, not in terms of the actual output, not in terms of how the team does and how he reflects that, but in terms of fantasy, I think there's a possibility that from here on out, maybe he gets a little bit, I don't want to say worse, but not as big of numbers. But 5 and that's
I haven't seen him slow down. It's that guy. Like, until he does it, can I say it? I mean, and this is the thing: is he's got Edelman coming back, which is huge. And we all know the Edelman to Brady show is absolutely perfect. I mean, he just gets the slants all. You can see Brady sit in the pocket, deliver a 1.5 second pass straight to Edelman, and he does it 8 times quicker. Let's go on to the guy who could be much higher or much lower, depending on what he decides to do. I mean, the biggest question mark in this whole thing is Deshaun Watson. He could be quarterback 1 this year. He could be quarterback 12 this year. He's just so electric on the football field. He's got one of the best receivers to throw to. But other than that one receiver, does he really have a whole lot?
That's the thing.
And that O-line is bottom 5 O-line.
I mean, if you want, you can possibly compare the Texans' offense to the Falcons' offense in terms of Julio's production. When Matt Ryan and Julio are connecting, that team's hard to stop. When they're not, what's the show? They have a better backfield than the Texans, of course. But Deshaun Watson to DeAndre can kind of have a similar comparison to those two. Without DeAndre, that's the thing though, is that DeAndre shows up for every game. He doesn't take a back seat like Julio does and then come up and put up the numbers that he can. I believe he's a little bit more consistent, maybe lower, in terms of fantasy output, but I think that's a
He
fun
just
little
slides in the pocket so smoothly,
Yeah.
play after play after
got an arm,
play,
too.
and he delivers the ball.
yeah.
He delivers the ball. A guy that I really did not want to put on this list, but I did.
I know.
He just has so many weapons.
I am low. I think I am lower than you. Maybe.
Yeah, but I had Big Ben. I mean, Big Ben, it's just at some point he talks about retirement, he talks about this, he talks about that. But when you got AB and Juju
That's the thing.
and Bell to throw to out of the back.
When we're talking about fantasy, it doesn't necessarily matter how good the quarterback is when you have all the weapons that you have. You can't lead him off a top 10. You know?
Preseason week 1, we saw him deliver a ball to Juju, and 71 yards later, it's like, was it Big Ben or was it Juju?
Right.
I don't really care. The stats go down as both.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sit here and say there's no way he can be bad with that many weapons.
Yeah. Now tied with Roethlisberger, by the way.
Tied with
This is our 7th spot.
Which is where he finished last year, I believe, off the top of my head. I want to say he finished right here as well.
Funny how that works. Okay.
The gunslinger himself, Clayton Kershaw's old elementary, middle school, high school buddy,
Oh, really?
Matt Stafford. Yeah, he's successful too. Matt Stafford just has quality receivers on the outside that he makes better than
that's
they
what it
are.
comes down to. Yeah.
He makes them better than they are.
Yes.
And he just throws it at such an abundant eclipse that he's just bound to have those numbers.
Yeah.
And Marvin Jones is the guy that can go off for 6 weeks in a row where he's the best receiver in football. Fantasy-wise, I mean, he's the best receiver in football. I mean, you can watch this catch where he catches, the over-the-shoulder last year catch when he goes up in the end zone and he comes down and grabs them.
Yeah.
He does that stuff on a regular basis. I just don't see it slowing down.
I agree.
What about after Stafford?
So 9th was Breeze. Breeze did not make my top 10. He made your top 10. He's at a little bit of a higher spot.
He had a bad year last year.
So he entered here at 9. I mean, it's tough to argue. It wasn't easy not including him in the top 10. But when it comes down to it, I could see, since we have a little bit, we have more quarterbacks with stronger receiving cores than backfields. And when it comes to the Saints, with the exception of Michael Thomas, I believe that as a whole, their backfield is better than their receiving core. And
I mean, hands down.
Yeah, it takes away from Drew Brees' game. It takes away from the receivers. Obviously, when you don't have to rely on the passing game all the time. Now, the Saints are going to throw the ball, of course. Both running backs are going to get passes as well. But that's the reason why I think that maybe he slips to an 11. Now, he didn't make that top 10. He's 11, 12, max.
My only rebuttal to you would be, as you see here, 81 receptions from Kamara last year. And we're talking about a guy who emerged, not late, but we're talking about a guy who emerged as the season went on for sure.
Right, yeah.
It's not like he was an elite scorer. He wasn't an elite scorer, So if you see this, I mean, you're witnessing 81 catches. Could that number not go up?
Oh, it could.
I mean, could he not have a David Johnson type year 2 years ago when he catches, almost 100 balls and he's just that good? I just can't imagine. I just can't imagine him not continuing that success. Move on after that. A guy that slid extremely far on our list. I want you to talk about this.
Extremely far on the list compared to what happened last year.
Because I think last year he had a Russell Wilson effect. It's Cam Newton. I think Cam Newton had a Russell Wilson effect that he was so much of the offense. Since I've been doing some digging on the Panthers, the pick of CJ Anderson's big. I mean, when he's healthy, he runs well. I think McCaffrey's in for a top 10, top 12 running back year. I think Devin Funchess is quality outside receiver. I think Greg Olsen, as I was proved wrong, actually has been better recently than I thought. So if Greg Olsen could show up, I mean, I'm a big fan of DJ Moore outside. I think DJ Moore is their best receiver over Funchess. And I think when you pair all that, I don't see Cam having the backpack everyone so much, and that's why I have him falling backwards. So I see the whole offense stepping up. I see maybe Cam's numbers, not his numbers coming down, but his fantasy output coming down. His ability to play on Sundays.
Good player in the NFL doesn't always translate to a good fantasy player. And sometimes that speaks to the caliber of the team too.
I just don't see him slinging 300 yards and running for 60 like he was last year. When he could tone it down, throw for 250, let some of the running backs do some more of the work. So I don't see him that way.
I mean, obviously, just like Russell, the dual threat and Watson, the dual threat nature of Cam is always going to be something that puts him on a top 10 list.
So our last guy who's tied for 10
tied
is
with
someone
him.
I didn't have. You
didn't have him. I had Phillip Rivers. Now, a good thing to ask myself, since I just talked about the Saints and the caliber of their backfield in relation to their receiving core, I mean, you can kind of throw that in there with Melvin Gordon. I don't think he's not even near as much of a pass-catching threat as Alvin Kamara is, or even Mark Ingram for that matter, which is why I don't think he's necessarily going to take away from the amount of it's Phillip Rivers. It's the Chargers. But he's going to sling the ball. When it gets late in the game, tie game, it doesn't matter. You know, up by a little bit, they're still throwing the ball all the time. And if Keenan Allen stays healthy, if Mike Williams does what we anticipate that he's going to do when he entered the league, coming out of Clemson, I think Phillip Rivers easily gets up there.
The weapons around him just allow him to be good. And Melvin Gordon does catch the ball well out of the backfield. I can just see Phillip Rivers mustering up another top 10 year.
Yeah.
He kind of consistently is right there at the verge.
Exactly, yeah. Just he gets there, no matter what.
Yeah.
How
So Rodgers, Wilson, Cousins, Wentz, Brady, Watson, Big Ben, Stafford, Breeze, Newton, Rivers.
Yeah.
Your top 11.
Top 11.
Top 11.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Moving on to running backs.
The funnest one of all.
Yeah,
I know that's not really a word, but we had a tie, a top 4 tie.
We had a top 4
tie.
We didn't discuss. Now, in
It
reality,
doesn't surprise me.
the top 4 we knew were going to be the same. We knew these 4 weren't going to change, but we literally had, down to the point, all 4 of these guys were tied for the number 1 spot.
And it's funny because not only did we have a tie for number 1, if I was in a redraft league, I don't know who I'd take for 1 year only. Like, these guys, I mean, it is all, like, they are all the same. I think they're the same caliber running back. I really do. I think
I do too.
1 through 4 they're the same. Maybe some have them.
In a different way,
yeah.
Of course. Obviously, we're talking about Zeke, we're talking about Gurley, we're talking about Bell, we're talking about David Johnson. Now, if you had to assign a biggest question mark to one of those 4, who would it be? If one would make you a little bit more hesitant over another, who would that be?
I'm going to go really surprising, and I'm going to say Gurley.
Okay.
Reason why is no running back is number 1, 2 years in a row. So I would say my biggest question mark would be is can you honestly do it again? Now they've seen your offense. Now they've witnessed the changes. Defense make adjustments pretty easy. It's the NFL.
True.
People make adjustments. Can you do it again?
Yeah.
I want to say no. I'm not saying he stumbles off by he's we're running back 20. I'm saying running back 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean in that area, that middle.
He's still going to be.
He's going to be a top end, RB1. I'm just saying. I don't think he repeats number 1 again. I don't see another running back doing that. They don't do that. And so I think his biggest question mark's there. I mean, yours.
It's going to be the easy answer.
I mean,
of course, it's going to be David Johnson.
Oh, okay. I thought easy answer might have been Zeke. Can you stay on the field trouble-wise?
Now, Zeke crossed my mind, and not for that reason, though. Zeke crossed my mind because, I mean, the Cowboys without Dez, the Cowboys in a world where Dak says Cole Beasley is his number 1 receiver.
Where he's just going to be toting the ball 8 minutes in the box.
What does that mean for Zeke? That reflects it. That can reflect maybe. We don't have to talk about their O-line. Their O-line didn't change.
It did though. That's what I was going to say. They used their 2nd round draft pick on one of the top tackles.
So it got better.
So that's what I mean. So it's like it's hard for me to say he's a question mark because he would have led the league.
I know it's hard to argue with that.
But David Johnson obviously coming off injury. I get where your head was at. He was not mine because he's so good at receiving that I just don't see how he can't be top 3.
I know, exactly.
He's so good out of the backfield that it's like, he's got dumb off Sam Bradford. Like, how does he not catch the ball 100 times this year? Yeah. So, but let's move on from those 4, and let's go the man that's newly onto my roster.
Number 5, Alvin Kamara. I mean, to be honest, like we talked about, the first 4, there's a significant dropout after them, but this was the easy 5 for me. Out of everybody that we had left to choose from, I think...
No doubt.
I don't know how you can argue with Alvin Kamara. I don't care if you're playing a PPR, I don't care if you're not. It doesn't matter. The guy touches the ball, and when he touches the ball, he gets yards.
Not only does he do that, he's shifty, and he doesn't go down with the first 2 tackles.
Dude, he's small.
He doesn't go down with the first 2 tackles.
Yeah. We were watching highlights of him. I think that was last week when we were on the podcast.
He doesn't go down on the first 2 tackles.
He was the only guy I think where we watched multiple highlights of him because we were a couple of the ones that popped up. We were just like, what? This guy's a small guy.
I won't continue to go for it. I traded for him for a reason.
Yeah.
He has an knack, and it's to not get tackled and to get in the zone. Yeah. We'll see if he can do it a year 2. Yeah. I like him. The next one I think people are a lot lower on than myself. Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
We saw the bad and the good last year. And this is the one thing I will say. We saw the good really early, we saw the bad in the middle, and we saw him figure it out late to the year.
Yeah.
And we saw him figure out with the quarterback he's going to be playing with this
year.
So if he figured it out then, I don't see why he doesn't figure it out this year. It's not like the offense got worse, it got better.
Right.
I don't see why we can't see him continue to be really good.
Yeah, and with Patrick Mahomes at the helm now, he's an athletic guy. We're still waiting to see exactly what kind of effect he's going to have on that offense as a whole as the season goes on. But when I think of Patrick Mahomes, when I think about a guy that is maneuverable, not exactly as fast, not necessarily a scrambler to the core, more of a slinger to the core, but Marcus pops into my mind of his ability to have an effect off the play action. With Kareem Hunt being there, I could see that playing an effect. But Kareem Hunt caught balls last year. You know, he was not just a threat on the ground. So yeah, so I don't deny that Hunt having a chance to repeat such a good season last year is likely.
Yeah. My next is going to be someone we already talked about. It's Melvin Gordon.
We did talk about it.
Melvin Gordon he's so into that offense.
Yeah.
He is in every play. He runs the ball, he gets the ball out, he blocks well. He just doesn't see his way off the field.
Yeah.
And when you don't see your way off the field, you just kind of have the ability to be a top 10 running back.
Oh, of course.
With the touches.
The more you're on the field, the more you're touching the ball.
The more you're touching the ball. Yeah. He's just kind of there. When I watch him, I'm not like, man, this guy is so good. He's so electric. He bowled it. That's none of that.
Right.
He's just kind of there, and he does his job well. And when you do your job well, it bodes well for you being on the field.
Yep.
And when you're on the field, you put points. Kind of simple. Next is a guy. Man, it's Leonard Fournette. I don't even know how to describe his game. Supposedly he's down late. That means we're supposed to be some more excited for him.
Did not know that.
But I don't know if that makes him any better or worse. Like, he just has a really good line. He gets a lot of touches. My worry for him.
The only reason that I have him the only reason that our joint score was up there is as 8.
I'm going to be honest. The only reason why he's there is because of touches. He's not very good per clip.
Exactly, yeah.
He's not very good on a yards per carry basis. He's not that good out of the backfield. I mean, he has a lot of good things, but he's not great at really anything.
It's just the demand that he had last year.
It's just he gets so many touches, and his O-line got better. I mean, it added the best guard in the game. So when you add a guard, like of Norwell's caliber to that O-line that already allowed him to be good, I just don't see how he gets worse. But I honestly don't think he's talented enough to get better. And I know I'm probably one of the few.
Breaking top 6.
I'm probably one of the few that say he's not talented enough. Yeah. But he just doesn't. He has
He just doesn't have that effect usually on the field that these other running backs have.
The next guy up is tied with three people should be up next. Tied for 9. We have Freeman, Howard, and Barkley. I know who I'm high on. I know who you're high on. I know who's kind of in the middle for us.
We're going to talk about Howard first.
Okay, I'm glad we both know. I just don't see in any way, shape, or form how he goes backwards with a better offensive-minded coach who that I think progresses with a good receiver now, a good tight end now, and a higher-end quarterback now because that quarterback is another year under his belt. How does that running back get worse with all of those 3 things getting better? Because it's not like he's going to lose touches. You still get him the ball because Mr. Trubisky is so young. So you have to have him touch the ball. And now Tariq Cohen comes in, and Tariq Cohen last year proved that he can be a good number 2 option. He can be a good receiver and a slot guy. I just don't see how Howard finishes worse than he did last year. I see him taking a boost up. I think he gets better quality touches. Maybe he gets the same amount of touches, but they're all better quality. So that's the reason why.
Next up tied, what are we on? 9? This is tied for 9. So the second of the 3 guys that we have tied, Devontae Freeman. When it comes to the Falcons offense, we already talked about them briefly because we talked about Julio compared them to the Texans. But when it comes to the amount of guys that Matt Ryan has the option to go to, Freeman's high on the list.
From a second list.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So after Julio, we were talking about the receiver core not being the best, not being the worst. Of course, there's still guys out there. But Devontae Freeman is a legit option to catch balls as well in that backfield. In addition to that, he's a shifty runner as well. Not Alvin Kamara shifty. He's a little bit shorter. He's a little bit thicker. He doesn't have quite the spring that a guy like Alvin Kamara has. But he's a guy that can avoid guys, and he's a guy that sometimes can't avoid guys and avoid big hits. Which is the only reason why I think
he doesn't avoid big hits because he's the running back every coach dreams of. And what I mean by that is he doesn't go down without falling.
He lays it out there.
He puts it all on the field every game. And when you put it all on the field every game, you're bound to get hurt. That's
just
how
life is.
And I'm not saying he's going to get hurt. He doesn't run out of bounds.
Now I got that slides right out past the first down marker where he's in the middle of the field because his linebacker there.
He's going for impact every day. And then the last one we have, I'm not honestly not going to talk about him much. I don't know enough about him.
I don't know enough.
But when you're picked that high and you are going to get the workload you're going to get, you're bound to be somewhat good. And he was pretty good in college. I'm not going to say he was great in college. He never won a Heisman. Yeah. He didn't do some of the things that I thought he was going to do in college. So I'm not going to say he was great by any means.
Yeah.
But he was very good in college. And everyone raves about him. But I just don't see that O-line being good enough for him to be elite. So I'm going to leave him where he's at a lower.
Based off the amount of looks that he's going to get at it, I mean, I think he's
strictly off of looks. Talent-wise, sure, he may be up there, but I just he's ant to me.
Yeah.
He's not someone I trade the farm for, but I think he's a very, very good starting block for someone.
I agree.
Next we have up a guy I'm a little higher on.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm almost like I'm talking myself into being higher on him.
Really?
That's Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey had a good year last year. When you go back and look at his numbers last year, it was kind of surprisingly really good.
Right, yeah.
It was one of those you go back and like, wow, he was that good. Huh?
Right, yeah. You kind of forgot.
Yeah, and he is going to get better this year. McCaffrey's not a guy he's not going to get stalemate by any
No,
means.
yeah.
And I see that role growing when you take a guy who's been in the system forever and you kind of just bring in a new guy like CJ Anderson.
Yeah.
CJ Anderson's normally going to get about 70% of the touches that the other guy did before.
Right.
That other 30% slide McCaffrey's way.
Yeah.
I think McCaffrey has the capability of being the it factor for a Panthers team. I'm not super high on the Panthers as a whole squad because I think they're in a tough division.
Right.
But if they are going to surpass I think the Falcons would be the next person to surpass, and if they want to beat the Saints as well, McCaffrey's the it factor. And what I mean by that is McCaffrey has the capability of beating you in the run game, we've seen, but also beat you in the pass game.
And not necessarily out of the backfield. He
runs
routes well.
He runs. He's like David Johnson. He runs out wide.
Yeah.
So if they're going to take the next step, it is going to be because he decides that he's going to be a very, very important dual threat running back receiver combo.
Yeah.
And if that's what he decides to do, then that team actually could be having a better year than I'm talking about. A much better year.
They have the pieces.
They have the pieces to be good. And I think it all depends on McCaffrey.
Yeah.
So next
13, and I think strictly based off of
we're scared. I'll say it. It's LaShawn McCoy. We are scared he might not play 16 games.
There's a chance.
If he plays,
there's a high chance.
If he plays all 6 games, sure, he's way up that list.
Yeah, of course.
We messed up.
Yeah.
But I'm scared he doesn't play all 16.
I don't know.
And that offense is horrific.
Which means what? Touches, like we've been talking about.
Yeah, but bad touches. Like not the high quality touches. Those are your bad O-line touches. Like
we're talking this ball.
You may get hit. I don't want to throw the ball. All I have is Kelvin Benjamin to throw the ball to. You're going to get hit in the back.
Hey, but if there's one thing that we can almost count on from LaShawn McCoy, it's
he makes guys
in Buffalo. Yeah. There's always one game a year where they're in 10 feet of snow,
and he's going to run decently well. Yeah, he's going to run decently well. With that being said, I think he's just scared. We're scared. Yeah. Lastly, you go with your guy here. I'm going to go with my guy.
Yeah, so Jay Ajayi made 14. The 14. When we have 15 slots to pick each, once we get to that tail end, there's a couple guys you can throw in there. Jay Ajayi made my list. He did make Connor's, so he's up here at number 14 with the joint. Overall, I'm hopeful when it comes to Jay Ajayi. He's going to have his first full year with the Eagles. As far as we know. He's going to start the year with the Eagles. He had the second half of last year to work. I think he's only gonna get better. He's only gonna be another threat on the field for the Eagles as an entirety. Their O-line's fantastic, and based off what we saw at the Dolphins, a worse team, a worse offense, a team where it may have been a little bit more translucent for who's getting the ball. Why can he not do better this year?
My praise for him. And it won't be for him, is that O-line is so good that anyone could run behind. It's almost a Cowboys.
Which can also be.
But what I'll say is
because of who they have to get the ball to.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
The other thing is just so many mouths to feed. When you got, I'm not a big Wendell Smallwood guy, but when you got Smallwood, you got Clement.
But with Smallwood, Clement, Sproles is obviously going to touch the field at some point.
When you have all of those guys in one backfield, it's gets cloudy.
It's tough to say we have one guy.
Remember New England the last 5 years? When you go, I don't know who's playing. It's been different because you could start James White and you can get good receptions.
Right.
You could start Dion Lewis from week 5 last year on and be extremely happy.
Yeah.
So they have changed their ways, but for the most part, in the past, New England's been tough to judge.
I think the comparison to the Pats is
Eagles is going to be also just as scary.
Yeah.
With that being said, my last guy is Dion Lewis. When you are RB13 last year, and you play for a team where you're going somewhere that I think has a better O-line, I think you have a guy who knows how to use you because he witnessed you in person live on the same sidelines. You go to a similar situation, and you went from 13 and you're going to get more touches this year. I don't see how you don't get better.
I don't either.
And so I don't see how Dion Lewis would slide worse than 13. I think he's a top 10 player. I think he's number 10, honestly.
I do too.
And when you look
I can see it, of course.
We both can see it. I don't think he's honestly number 10, but I can see it being 10 easy.
Not only do I not think he takes a step back from what he did last year, I think he's in a situation now. I think he's with a team now that has the ability to utilize him to his strengths, just like the Pats did. But maybe to a point where they actively want to utilize him in particular.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Pats, they have so many options. Well, like we talked about, too many mouths to feed. Fantasy production isn't necessarily the highest. It still was for him at the Pats. I think he's entering a Titans offense where they're hungry to use everybody that they have exactly how they need to be used. I think Dion Lewis is going to be good for that.
And I mean, all I would say is that I think Dion Lewis stays pretty close to that 13 mark because I think he's used more as a decoy this year than he has in the past.
Yeah.
With that said,
we already talked about Marcus's play action ability.
I was just going to say, I think he makes his team better this year, more so than he has in the past. I think he makes Marcus so much better than Marcus has been in the past, strictly because of his dual threat ability out of the backfield and his ability. I think he's a team guy. I mean, I've read everything saying he took a lot less money to go to Tennessee
that was the first thing
because he said he can do something there.
Exactly.
He wanted to play for Bray.
He wanted to be there.
He wanted to be there. So I think he's a team guy. So I don't think he's going to be that needy running back who gets an extra 10 fantasy points because he gets in a couple extra plays that the coach didn't actually originally have.
Right.
And that happens every year. So we'll move on. Next position group. This one, I wanted to go real bold on mine.
Did you actually?
I just changed it back just a little bit.
At
I don't
the
want to be a
one spot?
homer. I wanted to put him at the one spot, but I didn't. We'll go with the every year number one because it's easy, and that's Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown is
both out of at number one. That was easy. Yeah.
I didn't want him, but he's consistently high quality there. He just gets so many looks. Looks, and he's open a lot.
I mean, you talked about looks. You talked about consistency. He's the only guy in NFL history with what was it, 5 seasons in a row with 100.
All I'm gonna do is put this clip right here for you. I know it's preseason. I know it's practice. But if you can do that in the end zone and get that open on your own team who knows what you're running, I'm done. Like, you can't stop that. So next is also not the guy I was going to choose, but that's okay.
You got him a little bit lower on your list. You got bumped up a little bit with how high he was on mine.
I'm a little lower. It's DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah. My worry, and then you can go your success. My worry is that when you're so touchdown dependent, touchdowns aren't always there. They're not always present, and they don't always come back year to year. Look at Mike Evans. So my point being is, if he doesn't get in the end zone as much, he's not as good as he was.
I don't necessarily disagree with what you're
saying. I mean, I know it's pretty obvious, but
it is pretty obvious. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I'm not the highest on Deshaun Watson built for that. But if there's one thing where, if there's one situation where one guy's strengths plays to another's, so far.
He scrambles.
Sounds like Deshaun Watson likes to chuck the ball. DeAndre Hopkins likes to go up and grab balls out of the air and hold them. And then make it to the end zone.
You're not wrong. So, he does all of those things extremely well. Yeah. And he has mitts. I mean,
he does. He does.
Next is also we have tied. My guy's in here, and then the obvious choices in here.
Yeah.
We have it tied for 3. You go ahead and go with the first one.
So obvious choices: OBJ. Connor, we've talked a lot about the Giants and what we hope to see from them in terms of their overall well-being. Saquon entering the mix. But when it comes down to it, the success behind the Giants is going to be Eli giving the ball to who needs to have the ball.
And not only does he need to get the ball, he's a guy that makes something out of nothing.
Exactly.
He catches a slant.
He's a guy that catches a slant 1 yard into the cut, and it's gone. How? I don't know.
No one knows. Even when you watch video, it's like, how did he score that? It's not like he made a bunch of moves. It's just kind of like how
that happened. Yeah.
Consistently. And it happens consistently. The next one, I don't want this to sound like a homer pick because that's not my goal here. I strictly am putting Davante Adams here because when you are a receiver, I think 13 or 14 last year, you have a terrible quarterback, Brett Hundley. Yeah. And then you put Aaron Rodgers. I feel like that immediately bumps him up to 5 or 6. Yeah. And then you take away a guy in Jordan Nelson who takes away touches.
Right.
And you add Jimmy Graham who puts in about half as many touches.
Yeah, sure.
So then the other half's up for grabs. Davante Adams, best receiver?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know how else to put it. There is no better match than Davante Adams from last year to this year. It's so much better that I think he could be receiver 1 this year. Yeah. And I'm okay with putting him at tied for receiver 3 at receiver 4 because that's a 10-spot jump or 9-spot jump. But I can easily see him be a receiver 1 this year, like the receiver 1.
I think you had him as receiver 2. Obviously, you said you were thinking about that. I mean, when we compare the top 4 guys that we have mentioned right here, let's exclude AD for the sake of my argument. The other 2 guys, it kind of comes down to they're the playmaker, they're the guy that needs the ball.
Can they get in the zone?
Exactly. But when it comes to the Packers, I mean, that is a team that has everything that it takes. Let's be honest. Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, the chemistry that they have is something special. It's something that I think speaks more a little bit than OBJ to Eli, than DeAndre to Deshaun Watson.
Davante Adams has got better every single year.
And that matters. The quarterback to receiver chemistry, that matters, you know?
100%. Next is the most talented receiver in the NFL.
I disagree.
Wow, really?
I disagree.
I mean, he has.
Well, elaborate on what you mean by talented.
He has the most. I mean, he's big, he's fast, he's strong. He has the ability to take a running. He's Mr. 300 last year. Yeah. He got 300 yards in one game. Julio did. Yeah. Like 300 yards.
Yeah, a couple with 12.
I don't know. There's a couple quarterbacks last year who I don't think hit the 300-yard throwing mark, and he did it receiving. He has the capability of being the most talented receiver in the NFL. I just don't think this is his year to stay healthy. He was most of last year. Yeah. I think he gets banged up for 3 to 4 games this year. This is relied upon so heavily. Yeah. Same reason why I think Devonta Freeman gets hurt. This is the same reason why I think Julio gets hurt this year. He's just too relied upon. Yeah. And I don't think Calvin Ridley coming in is going to take away targets from him. Because no one takes
not immediately. No one, yeah.
No one does. So I just think he plays a little
too transparent with who needs to get the ball.
I have him at 6 because him missing 3 games puts him at 6. He plays all games. He's number 1, 2, 3. I think him missing a couple games puts him down to 6, 7.
Yeah, it'll bring him down. Yeah, I agree with that.
Next is a guy who was 3 last year. My only worry is his counterpart now could take a big step up this year.
And by counterpart, you mean
Mike Williams.
Okay.
So we have Keenan Allen sitting pretty at number 6.
So would you say then, because we were just talking about the Falcons, we were just talking about how Calvin Ridley might not be the guy to take away enough touches. Are you saying that Mike
Williams? What?
We were talking about Falcons. Calvin Ridley not being the guy
willing to take
enough away. Are you arguing that Mike Williams is the guy to
Mike
take more touches away?
Is a kind of guy who could A, take red zone targets away mostly, but B, Keenan Allen is so good in volume that I just don't know if he's going to get 12 touches anymore again. He might get 9. Yeah. And when you take away three a week, that's a lot. You know, I mean that can add up. Yeah. So instead of 3, that puts him at 7. You know, like that's realistic to me. I could see him being a receiver 5 this year. I could receiver 3 again because he's so good in volume. I mean, do you remember his week last year when he was by far the best player in the NFL? Like it wasn't even close.
I think I remember one week where he had multiple touchdowns.
Oh, he had 5 weeks in a row where I think he was the best player on any field.
Good stint.
Oh, it was long. He was consistently really good.
I can see it.
So
that Chargers offense, team as a whole, deceptive.
And it's funny. The next guy is also a guy that can be receiver 1 or receiver 10.
Yeah.
That's Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
He seems to get better every year.
Yeah.
He's got a good quarterback to throw to. Yeah. And he's really the only guy to get targets.
Yeah.
You gotta love all those things, but there's also the negatives.
The negatives for Mike Thomas?
Yeah. I mean, you don't have any?
Go ahead.
I mean,
I was saving for.
He's gonna get double teamed all day.
Yeah.
That's my one negative.
Yeah.
And Drew Brees at some point is gonna be bad, and when Drew Brees is bad, Mike Thomas isn't gonna be that great. Mike Thomas is a man of system. There's a lot of men of system.
Yeah.
AB's not very good without Big Ben. We've seen that in the past.
Of course, yeah.
So we take away Drew Brees from Mike Thomas, maybe he's not as good. So I think his window is much smaller than a lot of people think. I don't think dynasty-wise, Mike Thomas is as good as whatever.
I don't either. I agree with that. I agree with that right there.
And so I'm a big Mike Thomas guy.
Yeah.
Mike Thomas is so talented. But I think for all purposes.
But I mean, the second that I'm not throwing anything out there about when I think Drew Brees is leaving. I don't know when that is. I don't necessarily think it's soon. But Mike Thomas might be in a situation where when Drew Brees leaves, what are we looking at? You know?
You don't really know. You don't really know. Next we have Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
We got it early.
Stephon Diggs, that's who I was waiting for. I was going to talk when you I was going to wait until Stephon Diggs. I mean, there's just a lot to be hopeful when it comes to Stephon Diggs. The year you had last year, who he had thrown to him, it was a mix of a little bit of Sam, in the case Keenum, who I'm not high on. When you bring in a guy like Kirk Cousins, a guy who has what it takes to find guys, but has never had the guys around him, and Stephon Diggs is just sitting there as receiver one. The only negative I can possibly find for Diggs not being as high right here is if Thielen can have the same year that he had last year. I don't think so. But if Thielen can, that obviously takes away from Diggs. They cannot share numbers and Diggs be as high as I think he's going to be. But then also Kyle Rudolph. Kyle Rudolph wasn't as good of a tight end last year as I thought he was going to be with the amount of touches with the amount of targets, that he has in the red zone. If the Vikings last year, if the Vikings were inside the 8, Kyle Rudolph's percentage of possibly seeing the ball was way higher than Stephon Diggs. I think Kyle Rudolph and Adam Thielen were arguably top 2 in that offense for who's getting the ball. Stephon Diggs 3rd. So that's the only thing that scares me. Is that I don't know the guy. I don't know the kind of guy Kirk Cousins is. I don't know if he's a tight end guy. You know, I don't know if it. That's the only thing that scares me. But with that being said,
he hasn't had any of the talent he's had now except Jordon Reed. And Jordon Reed is so small to be a receiver tight end that he's been hurt. Right. But the one thing I'll say is we saw a glimpse of preseason. Yeah. Clearly he likes Stephon Diggs. That's all I'm going to say.
That's true.
Clearly he likes Stephon Diggs. Yeah. Next is Mr. Reliable when healthy, AJ Green.
Yeah.
When AJ Green plays, AJ Green is great. When AJ Green plays healthy, AJ Green is a top 10 receiver every year.
Yeah.
But there's a big but in the room, and that is the fact that can he stay healthy. Yeah. He is the only player in a uniform this year that is worth anything other than maybe Mixon. Other than that, that team is absolutely garbage on offense. I mean, it is atrocious.
It's bad. But somehow, some way,
he manages.
He gets up there. I don't know. And that's kind of the same situation I have with this next set. So this was a tie, by the way, tie for 9 between AJ Green and T.Y. Hilton.
Yep.
T.Y. Hilton is a guy. I don't know. I don't know what it is about him. I don't know how sometimes he can have 150-yard games. He's a good route runner. I'm not gonna lie.
Good, not great.
He's a good cutter. I don't know.
When you have
having looked back, having looked back, it raises his value. But when T.Y. Hilton's healthy, when Andrew Luck's healthy. 2 years ago? I still don't know. I don't know how. He's just up there. Mm-hmm. I don't know if T.Y. Hilton's just Andrew Luck's favorite guy to throw to. I don't know what it is, but
I think he just somehow has an knack to get open. Luck is more maneuverable than everyone thinks.
True.
So I think when he extends plays, T.Y.'s fast enough to get open.
Yeah,
I think that's all it is.
Yeah. He's a speedster.
Next is a guy that I just got done dealing.
Yeah.
He would be number 3 on my list if it weren't for quarterback play, and that's Mike Evans. He just has atrocious quarterback play. If he had a good quarterback, Mike Evans is, honestly, if we're going to talk about the most talented player in the NFL, it might be a guy who runs a 4.4 and 6.5, and who's 24 years old.
Who goes up to the balls.
And who's not scared and not shy.
Strong receiver,
Mike Evans might be the most talented. So Mike Evans is the kind of guy that if he just had a better quarterback, he would be a 12 to 15 touchdown every single year guy because he's so perfect for any offense.
Yeah.
Yet, why can't a quarterback throw?
I mean, I know we were just talking about the Bengals and how you were saying, other than AJ Green, other than the potential of Joe Mixon, who are we talking about? I mean, the answer might be with the Bucs in terms of if you take away one guy.
That team.
What happens with that team?
Do they have an offense?
I don't know.
You take away Mike Evans, do they score more than 10 points a game?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say.
Is Ronald Jones, Peyton Barber scoring? Because I don't see anyone else scoring. All I'm saying is Mike Evans allows them to score 15 points a game. Without him, they would be It would be,
I don't know.
It would be one of those questions that I'm like, hey, I'm not a big proponent of this. I'm like, hey, could Alabama maybe bring it close? Like, I don't think it would ever happen.
I don't think so,
and
no.
I know it when it happened, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, that offense is
But if there was a
so
question, that would be
bad.
the team to throw out.
I mean, you know, it is so bad. The next one I think should be higher up the list, but at the same time, I can't.
I know.
But sheer volume, he's beautiful. It's Jarvis Landry. I mean, we're all full on level from on Hard Knocks. You know what I mean?
I know.
Bless him, baby. Bless him. Just bless him up. But
he's got good hands.
Is he the
He's
guy?
a strong guy.
Is he the guy? You bring in they bring in Dez, and they have Josh Gordon on the side, because I think Josh Gordon's fine. I think he's making I think he's being a man right now.
Yeah.
And saying, listen, if I have lights, cameras, in action around me, something might happen. So instead, I'm going to take myself away from the situation.
Yeah.
I think that's the situation. I think if you bring in a guy like this, who still has it left in the tank, he still has it left.
Yeah.
He does. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind he has it left. Can Jarvis get the volume?
That's the thing. It sounds weird. Let's not even talk about this first. Can Jarvis get the volume with where they're at now? It sounds weird. But the Browns have targets. The Browns have guys to get the ball to. Yeah. So, you know.
First off, are we talking Jarvis where he's at with Baker playing or with Tyrod playing?
Oh, I'm talking Baker, to be honest.
I'm going to be real with you. I have him with Tyrod's playing.
Really?
If Baker's playing, I think that goes up. And the reason why is because I think Baker has the key of the ability to make one receiver elite. I think Tyrod has a better ability to distribute the football to the masses. Right now in their career, I think Baker would rely on his best target a little bit too much.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
So what I'm saying is right now my rankings with the number one quarterback on the depth chart, but that's Tyrod Taylor.
Okay.
Tyrod Taylor did nothing in that game to lose that. In preseason one, he did nothing to lose that. Baker tried to steal it from him. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And Baker is the.
I'm
going to go bold. Baker might be the future of the NFL. I mean, he's the future of Cleveland already.
Oh, already.
He's already going up. I'm excited for him because he has all the talent in the world.
And to be honest, I don't care what he does in the preseason.
Yeah, preseason doesn't matter. I don't care.
It doesn't matter. Tyrod's still starting.
Yep.
I don't know for how long. Who knows what the Browns are going to try to pull, but yeah.
Next, the most consistent receiver.
I was just about to say.
Outside of the top 10?
Outside of the top 10, yeah. A guy that is always, if you have it, top 15.
He's the only other player on his team.
Up there. Huh?
He's the only other player on his team that's as consistent.
That's true.
Russell Wilson relies on Doug Baldwin.
Yeah.
Doug Baldwin
is the guy.
Yep. I mean, I just don't see him ever breaking the top 10 anymore.
I don't either.
That's my only thing. I love him at the receiver 2 step.
I do too.
I just don't know if he can break the top 10 because I don't think he's. Honestly, I don't think he is elite athleticism, and I think that requires him to not be top 10. I think he's just so fundamentally sound. He gets the 1,000 and 7. I just don't think he's elite in anything, so I don't think he breaks the top 10. But I think he is for the next 3 more years, he might be 11 to 15.
Yeah.
Consistently. As long as Russ decides that he's his guy.
Yeah, and when we're talking about fantasy, consistency is the best thing that you can ask for. You know,
I'd rather have a guy.
Nothing is better than a guy that you know is going to do what he's supposed to. You know,
give me double digits every week. I'll be happy.
Yeah.
I'm down with losing by when I put up on one.
Yeah, if you do your job and I lose, okay, not your fault. You know.
Next is a guy who, I'm gonna be real with you, gets 0 love.
0. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. He doesn't have the flashiest name.
He was receiver 5 last year. Tyreek Hill was receiver 5 last year.
We were just talking about
was his rookie year.
Well, hold on.
Receiver
You're gonna tell
11
me
or 12.
Okay. So, you said no. Not only does he not get love, the Chiefs as a whole last year.
0.
What happened? And Alex Smith and the Tyreek Hill combination, no love them. But Tyreek Hill has the explosive. I mean, do you remember what he did against the Cowboys?
Well, all I'm gonna say is Tyreek Hill has something that can't be taught and can't be beat, and that is speed. And I'm not talking about clock 40. I'm talking about you put pads on a human and you put him in a straight line, and no one's beating that man.
Yeah.
In game situation speed, no one is outrunning Tyreek Hill. So my point being is this: Tyreek Hill is so undervalued in every league. I'm talking every league. You could have a bunch of Chiefs fans and they probably undervalue their guy because they just don't think it's sustainable. I haven't seen anything that doesn't tell me it is.
If there's one comparison that I want to make with Tyreek Hill and his effect that he has on the field, specifically related to his speed, there's one guy that comes into mind. There's one guy that comes into mind when he's running efforts with speed and beating everyone on the field. CJ2K. In 2008, he has that ability.
I've heard that before.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
We've said it a few times.
I'll think about it. I don't remember where I heard it, but I've heard.
He has that ability where it looks like he's going 70%. He's waving his hand around and he's gone.
It's like, I mean, yes, I'm an Oregon guy, but it reminds me of Dad in college. Can you catch him? D'Anthony.
Oh, yeah.
Can you catch him? Can he make you look stupid? 110%.
Yeah.
You can't catch him, and he's gonna make you look stupid. Like, it is guaranteed he's gonna do that to you. So I think Tyreek Hill is the guy that no fantasy guy's like, man, that guy who busts out every week, like, he can't have another 80-yarder. I can promise you, Tyreek Hill will have another 80-yarder.
I would say similar to the reason that we have Doug Baldwin in this list because of his consistency. I would say Tyreek Hill because of exactly the opposite. So because of how athletic he is, you can't exclude him.
I agree. And plus, he's proven in the past 2 years that he's going to be a top 15. Well, I'm just going to say that. Until he doesn't do it, I'm going to say he's going to continue to do it. The next on the list is a guy who
didn't make my list.
Didn't make your list, but I'm going to say this. I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to be real with you. If the counterpart wasn't there, this guy might be a top 5 receiver.
Yeah.
Bold statement right there. It's Juju. Juju was 20 years old last year.
Crazy.
And he was receiver 21, I want to say. And he didn't really, he didn't take the reins of receiver 2 for multiple weeks.
Right.
You put that guy in an offense where you have to double it, Antonio, and you put him on the other side, and you have to make sure you have one linebacker in the flat to always account for Le'Veon Bell, whether he's blocking or not. You have to leave him there because at any point he can decoy and pop out. It just leaves man on man with Juju. And Juju proved last year he will beat you one-on-one. Yeah. He will do it.
Yeah. I disagree. The reason he's on the list.
I can't imagine him doing worse than he was last year either because he's so young and so talented and in such a great offense. He's going to get there. Yeah. Next we have tight ends. This is to wrap it up. We got tight ends.
Now, to be completely honest, if there was a more transparent top 3, well, the running backs are pretty obvious too.
Yeah.
But we actually agreed down to the rank on the top 3 guys.
I almost want to change my mind.
Right now.
Yeah, but I'm not going to. But I almost do.
If you want to, we can do the new rankings right now. I'll do it in my head.
No, we're good. We're good. We're going to stick with it. Kelsey's number 1.
Yeah.
And Kelsey's number 1 because Kelsey is entering his prime. I think he's 28 this year.
Yeah.
He's obviously peak athletic performance. But other than that, I think you're going to see Pat Mahomes rely on his go-to receiver, not his home run guy.
Yeah, exactly.
And that go-to guy is Travis Kelce. Your home run guy is Tyreek. I think he's going to get the ball. Yeah. You add another home run guy, which I was shocked about, Sammy Watkins.
Right.
You have a good running game, if not on the verge of great. I mean, it was great last year for the number 1 running game. And you have a decently good O-line, consistently good O-line. That I don't see Travis Kelce.
I mean, he's a physical guy. He runs routes well. And somehow, kind of surprisingly, he gets open.
Oh, all the time.
You know, he's the fastest guy.
He can even eat hot wings.
What was that?
He even eats hot wings well.
How did you know that?
Just some YouTube video. Some guy brings all these stars in. I mean, he even eats hot wings well. He
does it all.
He does it all.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say. Next one, I guess you could consider. You have to put this guy in the top 3. Because of name. Yeah. I wanted to drop him, to be honest with you. That's why. But that's Gronk.
Yeah.
When he plays, there is no tight end that can be as game-changing as Gronk. Yeah. There has a good one, there might not ever be.
Yeah.
Gronk is just so physically special
that
when he's in the game, he's unstoppable. That's the easiest way to put it.
He's big, he's strong, he's fast. With a game where the receiving cores are all speedsters, it leaves Gronk on a guy that can't cover a speedster.
And I'm going to say this. Gronk will be good for until he retires because he's the best pass blocking tight end in the NFL too, arguably, and he's one of the best run blocking tight ends in the league too. And he gets 0 love, obviously, from a fantasy perspective on that.
Right.
But the reason why Gronk is so good fantasy-wise is because he does all the little things right. Yeah. And that's what makes Bill Belichick say, listen, we're going to get you the ball 8 times a game because you do all the little stuff right. And you continue to do that, we'll continue to make plays for you. Because Bill is a mastermind. He will get guys good who aren't good, right? I mean, that's his specialty. He gets not great receivers every year to be good because he puts plays for their talents. Yep. That's why Gronk is so good. And obviously he's a physical specimen. I get all that. Yeah. Next is the guy I wanted to move ahead of him.
This is the switch you would have made?
And this is the switch I would have made. And it's Zach Ertz. And Zach Ertz is on my team.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, the reason why I want to put Ertz ahead of him this year is Alshon Jeffrey might be hurt.
Yeah.
Most reliable receiver on the team would be Zach Ertz.
Oh, for sure.
And if that's the case, let's say Alshon's on the pup list till week 6.
Yeah.
Can't play till week 7.
Oh, we could be looking at tight end one.
And so my point being is that's like an extra 15 targets. Yeah. And tight end land, 15 targets. We're talking about a good chunk of change there. Yeah. I'm talking about a guy who could be tight end 1 by 20 points. Yeah. Tight ends have a wide gap. Yeah. He could be tight end 1. He could be tight end 4 this year. I don't see much different other than that. Yeah. He's too valuable right now to that offense. Who just won a Super Bowl with him being so valuable. Yeah. Next,
tie for 4. We got 2 guys.
Your guy first.
It's Delaney. Yeah, I gotta talk about
Mr. Consistent.
Yeah, Mr. Consistent, Mr. Guy who's always gonna get the ball.
Just signed a deal.
He did.
Can I stop you? I'm going to put my time down on this list for 55, 45, and I'm going to talk about the best throw.
Oh, go ahead.
Not only the best throw, but I'm talking about the best throw, a very high quality catch in traffic. Yeah. Delaney Walker is Marcus's guy. That's all I'm going to say. I want you to talk about him, but that's all I'm going to say.
As simple as that. First thing I want to do when I'm talking about Delaney is I want to talk about the Titans receiving core. When it comes to Rashard Matthews, when it comes to Corey Davis and the step that he's supposed to be taking, I don't necessarily, I would love to, but I don't necessarily see either one of those guys being a number 1 threat when it comes to the ball coming out of Marcus's hands. I think Delaney is going to remain as the guy that is going to be his primary go-to. Who knows? I could be talking crazy. We could have big changes in terms of Delaney's fantasy output, not necessarily as his overall output with the new offense being incorporated. But to be honest, as I said when we were talking about Jalen Lewis, we got an offense there that is fixing to use every guy like they're supposed to, which means
a very Bill Belichick-esque offense. I think we have a lot of guys who are on that same philosophy where they're gonna cater to their players. Next is the guy who shocked the world last year. He took the injuries that happened around him and he ran with them, and that's Evan Ingram. Yeah. He was obviously loved out of college. He was considered Jordan Reed clone, which is a great clone to be except for longevity. Yeah. With that said, yeah, you definitely made me know. Evan Ingram is a guy who he's starting to say, I demand the football. Yeah. He is their best receiver, second to OBJ.
Oh, of course. I don't disagree with that.
I mean, Sterling Shepard's not a slouch. And if you're telling me you're the second guy in a receiver's offense, Eli's gonna throw 30 times a game. He's going to.
Especially red zone. When they're in the red zone, if you were to somehow remove OBJ from the mix, for whatever reason, he's instantly target number 1 for that.
Next is the guy I was wrong on. He could easily be number 2 on this list this year. He could easily be number 1 on this list. He was on my fantasy team 3 years back.
Yeah.
Greg Olsen has the capability of, like I said on the last podcast, he has the knack to find the seam. Yeah. And it is as simple as finding the seam for him that he just has the ability to, he'll run like a post or a slant or an out, and he has the ability, I believe it's his knowledge of the offense with Cam, that he has the ability to make any of those routes. Yeah. Also a streak in essence. Yeah. He has the ability to find the little hole in the defense and make the 20-yard catch.
And he doesn't drop balls.
And he doesn't drop. And does not drop.
If the ball's being thrown to him and he's open, it's for sure.
I agree. Yeah. And I'm going to admit fault here. I named a quarterback in the top 10, a running back in the top 15, and a tight end in the top 6. Yeah. That offense might be better than I'm saying. That's all I'll say.
It's tough. When you look at each individual part of that offense, it's deceiving.
If they can make up for Andrew Norwell's loss, there's no reason they can't beat the Falcons. I'm not saying they're going to. My pick would still be the Falcons, but there is no reason why they couldn't supplant the Falcons or the Saints, for that matter, in that division, if all these things are working.
Yeah. They have what it takes.
Yeah, they definitely do. DJ Moore needs to step it up more. But if Cam Newton decides to be what I would consider not consistent, but how about just complete a better consistent amount of passes.
Yeah.
He needs his passer, I can't think of the stat.
Passer rating?
No, not his passer rating, but just his percentage of
completion percentage.
Completion. Jeez, that could not come off the top. He needs that to come up from 55 to 65, like the quarterback average.
And I think that will come with more reliability from who to throw to, less forced throws. I agree. And that goes up.
Next is Jordan Reed. We just kind of talked about him because Evan Ingram's Jordan Reed. But Jordan Reed is, when healthy, I mean, you can't guard him as a middle linebacker or outside linebacker.
Yeah. And
you can't really put a corner on him because their corners still aren't tall enough to guard him. Yeah. So he's kind of that rare breed tight end receiver combo. Yeah. And then, I mean, let's just be honest. Can he be stopped?
Let's just mention this. Alex Smith, coming off of the Chiefs offense that he was with, clearly decided that Travis Kelce is the guy that can get things done.
That's the
he's entering offense with another guy to do that for you. So I don't see him slowing down.
Yep. Next is Kyle Rudolph. Kyle Rudolph proved last year he's viable in the passing game.
Yeah.
Something that I'm going to be honest with you. He has the last couple of years. He's proven he's getting better and better. But he proved this year he's kind of like an Olsen, you know. He's not flashy. He's kind of there and he makes the plays.
He gets there. Another red zone threat. You don't mind me saying that, but yeah. I mean, I'll see him taking a step back. If anything, Kirk Cousins is just going to highlight exactly what he's there for you.
Yep. Next is my guy. I'm a big fan. It's Trey Burton. Burton goes to a team, and this is what I'll say. When you are a guy like Mitchell Trubisky, and you go back and watch highlights last year, who was his favorite target?
Yes, me.
Yeah. Through week 5. There was a little guy by the name of a tight end. He was number 4, and he had one of the most horrific injuries I've seen.
Oh, we're talking about Zach Miller.
We're talking about Zach Miller. We're talking about an elite Zach Miller last year, early in the year.
By the way, hold up. What's the deal with Zach Miller?
No. I don't. Can he walk?
Don't say don't care.
No, I don't know what he's doing. Like, I don't know if he can. Like, he can walk, but I don't know. That was bad. Yeah. My point being is you come in, you bring a guy in Trey Burton, you pay him a little bit. Yeah. Trey Burton is a better receiving option than Zach Miller, and Zach Burton's coming to a place where Mr. Trubisky can throw to some tight ends, and if they want to do that, we're talking. He could easily be top 5 if he wants to put a 4-year with Zach Miller.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I love it.
Disagree. Allen Robinson on the outside does take away from,
It takes away a little bit, I guess, but it's still a young quarterback should rely on tight end a little bit more, bigger body,
I agree with
bigger
that philosophy. I do agree with that. Yeah.
Last year guy, I'm gonna let you talk about him. He balled in preseason. Balled in
preseason. He made my list, not Connor's, but he's a little bit higher than a couple of the guys that Connor has.
Just missed.
Just missed though.
Just missed.
I'm high on him. I was high on him when he was a rookie.
Me too.
Originally he came out, I believe I drafted him as my. I think I have a really deep league in one of my leagues. I think I drafted him in 3 in that league. But with that being said, I want him on my team. He balled in preseason. I can't wait to see what happens in Hard Knocks episode 2.
Joku. Sorry. We just talked about Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
It is Joku.
Yeah, it's David Joku.
And Hard Knocks, he's bad because he drops every ball. But when he gets into real games, he catches them. He's a gamer.
Yeah, he's a gamer. His physical presence, I believe he's that guy that shows up when it matters. And he's got, who knows, at some point possibly a young quarterback throwing to him, looking to obviously make him better.
Or a quarterback. I didn't even think about this. Or a quarterback, Tyler Taylor, who had a very underrated Charles Clay at tight end at Buffalo, and he made Charles good.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Charles Clay did come off a good year with the Dolphins before he went to the Bills, so he wasn't bad before.
But he wasn't. I'm not saying he was bad, but Tyler Taylor. What I'm saying is Tyler Taylor's not shy at throwing to tight ends.
There you go. Yeah.
I guess that's what I mean by that. Is he's not shy throwing to tight ends.
So either way, I'm thinking it's going to be a good mix. He's a physical freak. I mean, you can't argue it.
100%. I mean, big body, super athletic.
Yeah.
Other than that, looking forward to week 6. We got some other changes we got in the plan in the mix. You'll just have to wait and see, but hopefully you enjoy the rankings. Hopefully it helps you win a fantasy league some more.
Yeah, ideally, that's what we're looking for.
Ideally, that's what it comes down to.